Stellar Blade is the latest PlayStation 5 exclusive that we cannot wait to get our hands on. With the release date steadily approaching, we thought it was time to break down all of the juicy little details about this stunning post-apocalyptic hack and slash. From behind the scenes details on enemy designs to info on the game's flashy combat, here is everything you need to know about Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is a third-person hack-and-slash action-adventure game. It was developed by Korean studio SkillUp, the team behind the popular gacha game Nikke, with development spanning roughly 5 years. This is the studio's first console project and originally aimed for a PlayStation 4 release. It is now being published exclusively by Sony and will launch on the PlayStation 5 on April 26. The game will launch with 2 editions, the Standard and the Digital Deluxe, with the latter coming with additional outfits for Eve and her companions Lily, Adam and Adam's drone, along with experience points and in-game currency. If you fancy trying out the game before taking the plunge on either edition, then there is a demo with the first hour or so of the game available on the PlayStation Store, and progression actually carries over into the main game. Onto the story then. Earth has been abandoned. The ruthless Netiba have overthrown humans, with those surviving fleeing in colony spaceships. However, after an indeterminate amount of time, Eve, a deadly agent, is sent back with the clear-cut goal of reclaiming Earth. As a human assault on Earth begins, the Netiba decimate the airborne division, and acting as one of the few survivors, Eve must take her fight to the Netiba one by one, whilst piecing together the story of humanity's fall and the mysterious origins of this deadly foe. Of course, you'll be fighting through Netiba street by street, but your real goal is to destroy the Alpha Netiba, massive bosses that will really test your skills. In your travels, you will come across the remnants of human civilization left in the barren plains of Earth. In particular, there is the city of Zion, which requires your help if they are ever to revive the thousands put into a form of cryosleep. The whole world has a certain aesthetic to it that the creators claimed was inspired by Alita Battle Angel, both the film and the manga. The game is interestingly a mix of linear mission types and more open world segments, meaning that you will have some side activities to experience as you help various survivors. Some can be found in Zion, a hidden human city, and others out in the wasteland. The inhabitants of Zion are said to be very cautious of Eve at the start of the game, but as you show your keenness to help, they will eventually soften and open up to you. It is said to be inspired by God of War Ragnarok, which had open world areas but wasn't entirely an open world game. During your travels, you'll come across supply camps, which essentially act as bonfires. Here you can upgrade your equipment, buy abilities and supplies, listen to music, and rest, restoring all of your health and healing abilities, but also respawning all nearby enemies. All in all, Stellar Blade's length is said to be somewhere in the vicinity of 25 hours for the campaign and somewhere closer to 50 hours when doing all of the side activities. Regardless of how much time you spend with the game, one thing is for sure, you're going to become familiar with the combat, which is one of the key selling points of Stellar Blade. It's Nier Automata meets Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, so Stellar Blade will test your mettle with high intensity parrying and dodging. The game features an expansive list of upgradable skills, which span 5 different skill trees. Although some are still secret, from the demo we know that 3 of the skill trees will focus on attack, survival and beta abilities. Beta abilities are your special attacks, which often wield high damage. These can range from focus attacks to those that help with crowds, although you must build up your beta meter before performing these skills with the use of successful attacks, perfect parries and dodges. Countering is incredibly important in Stellar Blade. Sort of like Sekiro, if you parry a Netiba the right amount of times, they will become staggered and left open to a devastating attack. Since the combat will be so heavily based on combos and counters, thankfully there will be a training area for you to test out your skills before applying them in the field. As your main character, Eve will have customizable aspects beyond skills and abilities. For one, you will be able to apply a number of outfits to Eve, of which there are about 30 to discover. Additionally, you can unlock hairstyles and even accessories like earrings and glasses, all of which are earnable in the game without spending a real world penny. Then there are exospines and gear, which will offer Eve perks which can cater to certain playstyles, whether those are defensive or offensive. Lily, one of Eve's companions, will also act as your equipment specialist, unlocking new weapons like some form of gun and even the ability to double jump. The Natiba themselves have some pretty nasty looking designs, and that's because horror monster designer Hee Cheol-yang, who's worked on films like The Host and Okja, worked as a consultant on the game before ultimately becoming more involved in the design process. Clay models were actually used when designing the creatures, which were then scanned into the game, which allowed for incredibly detailed designs. There will be different variants of the Natiba, with the Ravens, Stalkers and Gigas acting as the boss types. From the game we know regular Natiba will range in size as well as attack types like the defensive shield variants. The Natiba are also said to combine with robotic and even humanoid beings throughout the game, so expect some surprises along your journey. As a PlayStation 5 exclusive, you can expect Stellar Blade to feature immersive haptics, 3D audio and lightning quick loading times. Certainly from the demo we can tell that this game is a looker, and there will be 3 performance options available for those looking to fine tune their experience. Performance will run at 1440p and 60 frames per second, resolution at 4K 30 and balanced at 4K with around 50 to 60 frames per second. If you played through the demo, then you may have noticed just how great the soundtrack is, both in and out of combat. There are actually about 100 tracks on the soundtrack, most of which feature some kind of chorus or singing voice. Kiichi Okabe was the composer of this soundtrack and for that of Nier. The difficulty of the game can be adjusted at any time, and there is also an action assist mode that will slow down enemy attack movements, making it easier to counter. There will also be a hard mode unlocked after completing the game. This is a Korean game, so for those that don't fancy the English dub, there are actually 22 supported subtitled languages and 9 different dubs available, including its native Korean. Although for those looking to play the game with the Japanese dub, that will only be available in Japan. So that is everything you need to know about Stellar Blade. Be sure to hit that big old subscribe button so that you can catch our full review when that drops around launch. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content just like this, and until next time, I've been Aaron and this has been Push Square.